Hey nerds, welcome to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So this week on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we are back from the mid-season hiatus, and we had episode 9, Broken Promises. A lot happened, and the show really just kind of jumped into the LMD storyline and everything that's happening there. So let's just start off with the first thing that stuck out to me, and just get it out of the way before we hit the two big points for the episode. And the first thing is Quake and Patriot. Obviously, with Daisy coming back into the fold, there needs to be some reconciliation, and the dynamic and the interaction between the two I thought was very important and handled really well. It could have been really over the top of, you know, the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. just kind of patronizing and putting her down and chastising her, but he really did welcome her back and was willing to work with her and even was willing to listen to her to an extent. And I felt like it was a good representation of that character and who he is, because we don't know too much about him, and there's still this kind of gray area about what his background is and what he really is after in his goals, especially considering that picture. And they mentioned it again, even though we know there's something about it, we know it's fake. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It was really cool to see their dynamic. It'll be interesting to see them both in the field. Something to note, next week's episode is called Patriot, so we'll see how that develops. Next, everything about the LMD stuff that happened this week. There was so much that was just fantastic. It started, it was going, it was pretty dark. This was a pretty intense episode, and it started right away, which I'm very grateful for. I was kind of expecting them to drag out, what's Ada doing? Is she really bad? Is she trying to be secretive? But they, from the very get-go, we got a wiper, and then that's kind of when it hit the ceiling fan. First off, Yo-Yo and Mac, their commentary throughout the entire episode was spot on, and probably some of the best dialogue for comic relief that the show's had. Yo-Yo's comment, "Why are smart people so stupid?" Them just referencing all the different movies that robots or androids or machines take over. It was a nice bit of levity for what was actually a pretty intense episode. So gotta hand that to them. That was great. Now, the next thing, and possibly something that additionally spurred Ada and Radcliffe's plan, was that the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to get rid of the book somehow. They don't say how, they just said they were going to get it to someone who is an expert in dealing with this. Now, the MCU fan that wants everything to cross over would really want this to be Doctor Strange, but it's not. It's just not going to happen. That kind of crossover just legitimately is not the way the show and everything works. It would be great if it was, because that kind of text does belong in the library of the Ancient One, and right now for the Sorcerer Supreme. But there is an agent within S.H.I.E.L.D. who is an expert at this. He is called Agent Crimson. We don't know his real name, but that's what he goes by. And he is the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s magic division. So he would be the one in the comics that they would take this to. Now, there are other magic users, so it's possible there's someone else. It could just be a magic user who's not in S.H.I.E.L.D. But if they wanted to pull a name from the comics that is already affiliated with S.H.I.E.L.D. and could be just kind of a small branch that they had set up just in case, this kind of Agent Crimson character could be very important. Now, he gets a lot of his powers from Sidorak. The Crimson Bands of Sidorak is something that Doctor Strange will call upon a lot. So that's where his abilities come from. And he has an amulet, just like Doctor Strange has the amulet that's the Eye of Agamotto. So it would be cool if it was him, but we have no evidence one way or another. But that's who I'm going to suggest that it is at the moment. And then finally, in this whole LMD part of the episode, is Holden really the big villain? Is he really a bad guy, or is he a good guy that won't stop until his goals are achieved? Now, the character he's based on in the comics is legitimately just a bad, giant industrialist businessman, and will do anything at all costs to get his product to be the best, to develop this kind of combat android. And is that what Radcliffe wants? Does he want to just do whatever he can to further his own career, his own ambitions? Or is he legitimately looking to make LMDs as good, as amazing as possible to help save agents? At the moment, it's hard to say, but if we take any cues from the comics, Holden Radcliffe in the comic is not a good guy. And the Teen Machine, who went by the name of Adam, was created, and the entire series he spends his time trying to capture Adam, this Teen Machine. And in the final issue, there's while Adam's trying to save the guy who created him and some other people, he sacrifices himself in an explosion that kills him and Radcliffe. How do I see that relating to here? Well, I think the LMD of May is not going to behave the way he wants. I think as she's getting closer to Coulson, because she doesn't know she's an LMD, she doesn't know that she is kind of an infiltrator. So I think as she gets closer to Coulson and closer to the team, at the very end, she is going to sacrifice herself to defeat whatever Holden does create, whether it's a Darkhold imbued Ada or if it's something else. So that's where I see that going. Now, the next big thing of this episode was everything surrounding Senator Nadeer. So what was going on there? We learn a little bit more in the backstory that we got this week about why the senator was so against Inhumans. And it seems to be that during the invasion of the Chitauri, their home was destroyed. I don't know what loss they sustained outside of that. Probably the loss, I think they implied that their mother or father died during the attack. And they made a bond between the two of them, that if either of them was ever changed by aliens, that the other one would kill them. Because they did not want to be changed. They did not want to become aliens. And the conflict here is, obviously Vijay was going through this. He was in a cocoon for 7 months. And when he emerges, did he have powers? And that was the crux of Senator Nadeer's issue. Did he have powers? If he did, she was going to kill him. If she did not, then she could spare him. Now, the wolf pack had other ideas, and they alluded to a larger leader, so it'll be interesting to find out who that is. But when they go to kill him on their own, that's when his powers do manifest. And the whole thing, the escape, shot in the helicopter by his sister, which is pretty cold, all pushes him towards a secondary pterogenesis. Now, this is something that has happened in the comics. It's something that they have referred to. A few notable characters have gone through it. Gorgon, who, just right off the bat, he is not Gorgon. Gorgon is already being cast for the ABC Inhumans show that is coming out, so he's none of the royal family. You're not going to see any of the key royal family players in the show at this point. But Gorgon has gone through secondary pterogenesis, and also Thane. Thane is the son of Thanos. Not Thane either. But he seems to exhibit some sort of speedster abilities. So it's hard to say who he could be, and if those are actually his final permanent abilities. The one Inhuman I could find who does have these kind of speedster abilities, besides Yo-Yo, but she's not, obviously not going to be the same character. But there's an Inhuman by the name of Drive who has super speed and super reflexes. He's not in many issues, so they could be doing a take on him, but it's doubtful. It's most likely they are creating a new Inhuman for the show, like they did with Reyna and some other characters. So that's what's going on there. What do you guys think? What do you think the end game is for Radcliffe? Who do you think that agent or mysterious magic-related character was that they were going to take the Darkhold to? And what do you think about the fate of Vijay? Do you think he will become an Inhuman we know, or is he going to be a brand new one for the show? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next week, guys, this has been Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd, and this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies.